Honorable members, we have quorum. We ask the member.
To give us knowledge and wisdom, to make good decisions for the sake of our people and this country. Heavenly Father, send forth your Holy Spirit upon each and every one of us to be wise, to be transparent, to be accountable to this House and to our Constitution and to the people of this nation. Let us say the Lord's Prayer together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, power, and glory, forever. Amen.
Clerk, any petitions? Notices? Honourable members, question without notice. The Honourable Governor of Morobe.
Honourable Speaker, I thank you for giving me the lead to ask the question. My question will be directed to the Minister of Treasury. Is he in the chambers or not? You are there? Thank you, you are there. Mr. Speaker and Mr. Treasury Minister, in the province of Morobe, very difficult country, tough mountain to cross and tough mountain to build roads, heavy seas to cross. I'm having difficulty trying to put money to bring road to Kabum and Finsafen, and having difficulty similarly to build a road from City to Meniamia, and building a road from Wera in the Bulol electorate to Graina, along the coast of Salamaua to the end, to the border of Morobe and Oro province. Very difficult, Mr. Minister. Morobe is a big country within a country of PNG. Very difficult. That's why I ask you now, Mr. Minister. I won't be long. I will be short, but that question is very, very important. We're delivering almost 3 billion in the GST to this country's purse. Our people in the Morobe province are suffering everywhere. Mr. Minister, I want to ask you one question, and that question is, can you give us the 100%? 100%. I fought the war against the government. I won it, and we're sharing on 60-40, but that is not sufficient. That's not been fully implemented. Now today I ask you that you give us 100% on the inland tax. You can have the import and export levy tax, you can keep it. You can keep the company tax. You can keep the income tax. Those taxes, you can keep them because we are a nation. That is why I have to be considerate. But give us 100% inland tax, and which is almost about $1 billion. I can take care of everything, all the problems in Morobe, not all of them, but substantially, answer them by allocation of that money, of that tax to us, and you can kiss Morobe goodbye. because we will have sufficient money to take care of ourselves. Mr. Minister, can you work with the IRC to make sure that we get 100% of inland tax? Thank you, Mr. Minister, and thank you, Mr. the Deputy Speaker.
The Honourable Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the Honourable Governor for Morobe for his a very simple and short question in relation to goods and service taxes, and in particular the inland tax, where he has requested whether the national government may consider giving Morobe Province 100% of that amount. Mr. Speaker, GST, including inland tax, make up a very, very important part of our government's revenue plan for this year. Just by way of background, tax revenue this year, we are projecting to receive around 14.9 billion kina, of which GST it will be around 3.2 billion kina. Mr. Speaker, inland tax, GST tax, including all the other 7 streams of tax, are all part of our government's revenue plan. And whilst the national government would like to give more GST back to provinces and maybe even review the 60 to 40% breakup, unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, the revenue that we collect from all provinces are put into a general basket, and from there the government then breaks it up into other very, very important areas of expenditure, none more important than core services of health, education, and the law and justice sector, and of course our capital budget. So it's all about getting the right balance, Mr. Speaker, and Governor. As much as I would like to be a populist minister and say to you now, we would be happy to consider that. That request places me under great pressure in terms of raising revenue. So that's quite shaky. But what I can do, Mr. Governor, is have you and your team sit down with ourselves and explore other ways in which you can raise revenue, internal revenue in your province. And if you did attend one of our provincial government budget sessions where governors do take some time to come down to the Treasury, you would have heard me encourage you to embark on the Labour Mobility Program. And that particular program, we are advancing it very, very quickly, and that's been one area where all governors coming to the Treasury, I've encouraged for them to participate, and the monies which you raise there might be able to make up for some other areas where you wouldn't be raising revenue. So look forward to meeting with you, Governor, to help you raise some more internal revenue for Morobe Province. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Kabum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Askim Nogatok Sawe, Askim Blomi and by Golong, Minister Blong, Civil Aviation and Transport. This question is in regard to failing air transportation in PNG. I'll give a little bit of background. Mr. Speaker, Acting Speaker, or Deputy Speaker, thank you. My questions are directed to the Minister, as I said, and also to the State Enterprises, Transport, and the Treasurer to take note. we have noticed a growing number of incidents and accidents involving third-level airlines in recent months, especially in our rural areas. And also, the Air Niugini disrupted flights in and out of Port Moresby when government could not resolve forex issue. Mr. Speaker, or Acting Speaker, and leaders, you have also reminded by these aviation incidents that our capital is connected to other towns and cities in our country. Mr. Speaker, the crash of light aircraft up in Western Highlands and also in Western Province highlights the fact that air transport connection is the only link to many remote and rural communities in our country, like my electorate in Cabo. Mr. Acting Speaker, or Deputy Speaker, a few years ago, Air Niugini announced plans to link up more airstrips or airfields and introduce a smaller twin propeller fleet under Link PNG level. The planes started to land in smaller airfields like Wapenamanda, Kundiawa, Tufi, Luce, to the delight of our people. Sadly, Mr. Speaker, these air transport services beyond provincial towns and into strategic airstrips ceased or finished. In the meantime, all we hear about under this government is connect PNG by roads, with little detail or reference to other modes of transportation, which is air and sea. My series of questions are as follows. Mr. Speaker, in relation to safety of the flying public using the rural airstrip systems, can the Minister explain what he is doing about the frequent incidents involving light aircrafts? Number two, how much money has been allocated by the government in 2023 appropriation to support the system to assure safety of our people using airstrips and light aircrafts? Question number three, Minister, for Works and PM talk about, our Prime Minister talked about Connect PNG program. Can the Minister for Civil Aviation explain how the aviation transport sector features in the current government's Connect PNG program? Number four, can the Minister provide real figures detailing costings for the program from relevant policy documents and how it is captured in 2023 annual appropriation? Question number five, when will the Minister going to present a ministerial statement detailing how exactly you plan to connect PNG through air transport services? Six, is the Minister aware of the status of Air Niugini's Link PNG program? Do you have any plans to revive, improve or expand that service targeting our rural communities? Seven, in relation to rural airstrips agency, can the Minister tell us his plans for RAA to ensure that the authority or agencies works for the benefit of our rural communities depend on airstrips and light aircrafts? How much money has been allocated by the government to his sector agencies, including RAA, CASA, and AIC, because officers in these agencies are operating without no money at all? Number nine, what is happening with the CADIP funding program? Earmarked for identified rural airstrips in our country. Number 10, the last, can the Minister be also our people of Cabo, my people of Cabo, and other districts in remote provinces in Morobe, that we will not be forgotten in CADIP funding program and other funding program as well? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister for Civil Aviation.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you also goes to the member for his series of questions. I would also like to ask the member if he could put that in writing to me, because there's a big list of questions he wants. I will do my best to answer most of them here, but if you can forward to me in writing the series of questions, and specify specifically areas that you want me to answer, I'm happy to respond and come back to floor and give you a response. But in relation to going forward and just providing some preliminary information, background information on some of the questions you've asked, in relation to safety of aircraft that you've raised here, is that most of the companies that are operating the aircraft, okay, are responsible to meet those requirements under their permit or license to operate. Kasa and work lo kasa and lo trying to manage him to make sure we meet in compliance. And work lo kasa. So Kasa is doing his job, but the postal company, he find him financially or he got problem, sampler could be shortcutting long time continue him scheduled flights all in our remote areas. I'm not saying that this particular company is doing that, but how me look him incident he come up long recent time, and me explain him also no good company come through or some kind of struggle because you may got FX issue, maybe not bringing parts in time, maintaining all aircraft and all kind of something or same, so they may be doing some shortcuts that's now causing this incident that we've seen in the media. I would like to also state here that in relation to all this incident, there's a current investigation that's on foot, and I'm happy to give you an update on actually what's the cause, whether it's company, pilot, or mechanical error. So you may all get that killer along in, and you may not target him. Good understanding, believe me. In relation to airstrips, you talked to Longen, yes, we supporting you. Airstrip throughout the country, especially rural airstrips, you may need lo focus, lo try na opi mo back or lari mo go back operation can. Planning lo this airstrip have been neglected over time, and this is why going back, maybe about 10 years ago now, where national government is signing one agreement, one airline company, a third level airline company, Loronim RAA, which is the rural airstrip agency, to take responsibility and take charge of rural airstrip. Because rural airstrip, it fall underneath now, long RAA, and I fall underneath long National Airport Corporation. National Airport Corporation, you look out into Seoul, all airstrip, all airport, where we got all terminal, now only categorize him underneath Lokasa, long all balus inapunan long all this kind size airport minimal sem CASA certified lo balus lo punan lo airport has to be an aircraft that has carry 20 passengers or more. You can put down long airport 20 passengers down below, but you put down long airstrips, okay, but that's provided that the airstrip meets the requirement lo this kind size aircraft. All right, so 20 and above, and we talk or 20 around 26, we're talking about, a dash 8, a small tail dash 8 that can actually operate on the rural airstrip, but provided that it's certified and signed off by CASA. Lo side belong airline company usat like operate long rural airstrip, and decision belong all yet want the management belong all. Provided that CASA gives certification, they're happy to land on those airstrips. Okay, so process emulsion. All right. In relation to Connect PNG, as Minister responsible for transport and civil aviation, it is this government, Marape Rosso government's focus, right? That Connect PNG is not only by road. We're looking in the transport sector, look along air and look along sea as well. There's been some space already, or some decision has been made down the space, lo side lo sea as well. When we play walking sub like decision finished lo last term, towards the end of last term, where we play help him lo Tupla district long counterpart lo buy him some ship lo bring him services he come long all. One plane lo side lo North Bougainville, and one plane lo Talasian about. All right, so. And this Tupla money go finish 5 million each as a counterpart funding, and is waiting for the district government and provincial government to put their counterpart into it to get the vessel that they feel that will serve their needs. Lo side belong both passenger and cargo. All right? One district by got different needs belong on. So this is the Marape Rosso government's intention. Long go down long end long try na support him to connect PNG by sea. By sea. All right? Antablongen, I would like to add that where now me start misalo discussion right now, look long, trying na procure 4 ferries where all by now parim close to long 140 passengers. All right? Want them supply cargo. The configuration where you may modify them lick where you may not need to carry 140 passengers, maybe you may not carry him to solve 70 passengers and leave the other 70 passengers space, rausimo siablongol na putimoli cargo. All right? So the vessel can carry enough cargo as well in case that it has to. All right? Lo bring him all produce, blong all farmers, blue mean or line long remote islands, ikam lo market, now go back in a safe environment. So maybe I will look trying to buy this 4 ferry. We're still trying to identify the location of these ferries, but I do stress inside this process. So you need to give ferry go along existing operators where they've already operating ship. It's no point maybe the government taking this responsibility and trying to run him ship you yet. Sorry, maybe no government, maybe legislators, maybe no manageable of ship or run him ship. So I want something like clear him here. Also, we're looking at existing shipping companies to try and support us when the ferry arrives. And also, we'll probably consult everybody and get everybody's input in terms of all this ferry, but you may put him where as a pilot project, or starting past them. Okay, so and this complements now the Connect PNG, where you got road, now connecting all man road, you got ferry, now inside the rural airstrip agency, by trying to support him all rural airports or airstrips, no, come back up again, we're all together by complementing Connect PNG. Lo side belong, me just like make him clear too. All right, me transport na civil aviation minister, so me no got jurisdiction over New Guinea. All delay na balus problem, na all this la New Guinea. It falls under my good minister below SOE, kaya New Guinea, so department belongen, so me no nap comment to mas antap long how New Guinea is operating and why are the delays and all this la. I mean no area below me just like clear him below here. Okay. In relation to ministerial statement below me by CAM, it's actually here already. Only waiting the sole date below me long. Read him, update him to the financial position or audit that actually took place, where it's required by the minister. Lo CAM lo here lo flow na talk out clear lo olgeta. Long one financial position below 2020 na 2021 lo side belong CASA na operation and lo transport and civil aviation. So it's here already. It's been approved by the appropriate authorities na companies lo here lo parliament within the sol day lo mi lo calling lo read him out. In relation to Link PNG, once again, please question you go along SOE. Minister, he probably can enlighten you a little bit more about what is the plans and the business plan below this Link PNG concept that New Guinea undertook some time back. Now only by more values too long, lo serve him this airstrip. So maybe me best long give update lo you lo this instead of me because that's more operational matter. Now you know stop lo handle me also Minister belong transport and civil aviation. In relation to rural airstrip agency, what is it doing? We're focusing, we got close to about 200 airstrips. You may identify them inside of Papua New Guinea. Some of them operate, some of them don't operate yet. Okay, so we're going through the process now to identify. We've put in the necessary budget component to support, but there is an arrangement that's in place right now that if members, district members or governors who wish to have their rural airstrips up and running is for you to sign a MOA, MOU, initially a MOA with Rural Airstrip Agency, and you go counterpart funding with them to support you to try and maintain or even resurrect or open up your airstrips. So this arrangement is in place. I encourage all members to explore him and contact RRA CEO and query about the process and the method of how you can get support to open up your rural airstrips. In terms of RRA funding, yes, there's been some constraints in terms of getting the necessary funding or supporting more rural airstrips, something that we're trying to manage at this point in time. So, you know, tapos may got 20 pla member ikam na uli like him airstrip long all open now yet, and by hard lig, we need to sort out the fundings to get that support mechanism happening. So, rural airstrip lo side lo mipla long agency, you got all engineering staff, all competent staff lo working all work lo disla. But obviously, funding plays an important part. Okay, so lo talk kila lo here. Lo side blong Kedip one, you me companies lo completion lo funding now. Some of the projects are still on foot, near completion now. So once those projects or terminals or airports are completed, mi by me when mi talk sa lo yumi olgeta na yumi by kila which ones that I'm referring to today. But lo side blong Hamas airstrip or Hamas terminal, Hamas airport, ani lo Kedip have been constructed or have been opened. Majority has been opened. We only got two left, and I'm pretty sure one is NetZep. Narapla, I need to come back to you on that one. My apologies. But in relation to Kedip 2, there's been progress in Kedip 2 as well. Thank you to the ADB and the Marape Rosso government. Long continued support along this ADB Kedip 2 project. Milak sanap tu na talk thank you long former Minister blo Civil Aviation Transport Honorable Don Poliel who sati been starting this initiative and now we play work follow through long side long Marape and Rosso government. Okay, this is a good example of a government that's inherited a policy or inherited a position on Kedip projects and continue to support it. All right, we play no bringing politics kami side long en try and play number long en. We see the importance of this, all right, in our rural areas. Na mi play supporting without politicizing the issue. So mi like to kila lo mi also. So Kedip 2 mi play signing pinis an understanding long Hamas funding this la second Kedip project funding belong any one kind of same first Kedip 1 project. But you have some airstrips already been earmarked. I think Kiunga has been one, Central Bougainville, ROM Narapla, we got WeWack, and a couple of others as well that are all on the list. In relation to the rural airstrip, because we requested for funding for 4 rural airstrips also under the ADB arrangements. Those 4 airstrips, we've yet to identify them, all right? But the agreement was signed in, long give money logo, and we play sign it finish. So we're just following the process through now, all right? And we will make that announcement once we confirm which airstrips have been identified. As the initial support mechanism, this line pilot the solo side lo kisim ADB funding go down to rural airstrip level. If this project works well, then we can open that up to all other rural airstrips as well. Because, like I said, we've got already 200 rural airstrips sitting out there. Some are in operation, some's not. So most of them will need funding to get it operational again. So, I think I'm last asking Blo, Honorable Member Blo Yumilo here. But if you could, member me ask him to post right through lo chair. You put one black and white icam, clearly click. I'm happy to give you a detailed response, lo disela. So you by clear straight lo all walk about lo this lo asking below you equal swanen. All right. Honorable Speaker, thank you.
Honorable Governor Morbe.
For me, Minister, Honorable Minister, Long Morbe have got more airstrip than anywhere in this country. People got 30 airstrips. Of that, 20 are abandoned. Balusino put down on the slab. Now, Mr. Minister, time come to government, me bringing Balus come inside. Long fly go along all this play airstrip. Now Balus now establish operation. Me walk to find him, usat man through, but come walk him, inspect him long. All place Balus where now before Sanap airstrip, but now abandoned. Also, me talk him all man on Morbe where airstrip stop long end or Balus you put down long end. Long clean him airstrip. Clean him. Now me like talking to you, Minister, all work clean him finish. Plan it through all clean him finish now ready now. Plan me fly now me look him all finish. So, Mr. Minister, legally question. Me like him, this like inspector now, that's what you give me. Inspector. Me no need him money lo you. Me need him inspector. Long by come look in this place balance or people clean him. Now by inspector me certify him. Now me no need him balance me got finished by me put down now. Also now Minister, you give me inspector lo now yet. Thank you.
Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Governor. One little proactive, determined governor, lo bring him kind development lo morbe. Big la look sawe lo you na, big la look sawe lo enthusiasm lo you too na, sawe lo you long, bring him all this kind development lo look ikam. Honorable Governor, me back into sol through lo chair, ask him lo you. I think me touch legally finish lo long asking blue you long all first series lo and sab lo me. I go long honorable member past them. But me one bell long give little more guidance lo you to post you like. No got problem. One bell. Lo side long or rule strip na you to also you don't need him funding, you just need him or technical support that's all. Me encourage him, Honorable Governor, please go on look long RAA, Rural Airstrip Association. I'm happy to give you the contact details after this session, so you can make the contacts. I'm even happy to only handle you, bring him you go, no open office, connect him you good. So and by call him bell you lick, so you know hard to mass. Honorable Governor, all he needs is an understanding, an agreement signed with the Rural Airstrip Agency, and then they will then facilitate through you a schedule. Long all engineers will come down, the respective airstrip, long selection blue, na nomination blue. You like him one airstrip, lo up and running past them, all by bringing all this expertise, lo come down, lo support him you. So I am not gonna talk. Na me one bell, lo put him stamp of approval, blow me too long, talk him all, hurry up, now yet, lo go lo you. All right, so my Honorable Governor, through the Speaker, please, me one bell long, sit down want them, you na give contact detail, disala, usat online long up, you mean up contact, rural strip, and then facilitate your desire to get most of your rural airstrips in Morbe province up and running. One bell. Thank you.
Honorable Member, must be noticed.
Question me without notice. For the interest of the nation, may I ask him, Honorable Prime Minister, now we are on the 11th Parliament session, or 11th Parliament. 10 Parliament, you go finish. People talking about corruption everywhere. Corruption at all levels in our society. Now, may I ask him, what's the meaning of corruption? Corruption is dishonesty, fraudulent dealing, typical involvement in bribery, power that we have for our self-gain, plenty kind of meaning of corruption in this country at all levels. Honorable Prime Minister Gopini's also corruption. And the 11th Parliament, Honorable Prime Minister, is stopped to corruption. So all levels of corruption in our society, from the institution, from government department, corporate bodies, or even in our house, corruption started. Mila asking Prime Minister for the good of the nation. Now, Olga Man Masawe, what is this government doing? With so much constant of corruption in our country, what is the government doing on the Independent Commission Against Corruption? Now, Commission Against Corruption, when will it be established? And number one question. Number two question. Can the Prime Minister explain to the nation whether the role of Ombudsman Commission will be diluted, finished, or power by staff or not when ICA is in function or implemented? Thank you, Assistant Speaker.
Honorable Prime Minister.
All right, thank you, Assistant Speaker. I'm also looking at Sinan Law. Yeah. Me like looks through you. Question belong member belong must be Northeast. And me ask him long. Talk long one time by Independent Commission Against Corruption is set up na making work. Second question belong and me ask him long. One now by work ombudsman. Whether work ombudsman by go down or by set up yet na go strong. I think two important question and me ask him so that country he can clear long how side you may as government set up long addressing issue of fighting corruption long country. Corruption in its simplest definition and me issue long you may broken law long country. Whether long law money or law long appointment process or one law is tablo country, suppose you may broken law and me corruption. Me like giving belly long this law parliament country also since me play taking office long 2019. In fact, law made an address from me law parliament long May 30th, 2019. One blah resolve inoblo mita sol. But all the leaders tabante me lo this time. They talk long ensuring that the Independent Commission Against Corruption law you may pass him, Whistleblower Act law you may pass him. Na make sure this law institution set up long fighting corruption. Me like Mr. Assistant Speaker report lo you. Na report to the country through Parliament. Also, the Independent Commission Against Corruption has been established by this Parliament. And I want to appreciate all members of Parliament, even on both sides. This will work long set him up ICAC. Now tasol you may get up him na start him na set him nogat. Since the third Parliament or second Parliament in the 1980s, the late Tony Siaguru, amongst others, were talking about setting up this institution to fight corruption. But since the 80s up till today, or up to 2019, this will work taking big move. Milag also looks how long the previous O'Neill government only start making some work, but the matter come reaching Parliament. He stopped short. I'll give him notice now. The vessel only Karam in 2014, 2015 thereabouts fell short of coming straight to Parliament and for Parliament to set up the law. Mr. Assistant Speaker, may report through you to our country that the Independent Commission Against Corruption, the organic law on that has been passed by this Parliament in the 10th Parliament, rather, and
Today, you may start long work, long operationalizing the law. May I also report long this work law fighting corruption. One time also, me play bringing this ICAC law into pass. There was a sister law. Law work one time, the making work law ICAC go good. Me play he also passing finish the Whistles Blower Act. Long banisim uset online he reporting corruption long country. All boss law no get rasimulo work. All no can kiss him time. Suppose all reporting corruption. Law can look at him all. People also, Mr. Speaker, Assistant Speaker, me like inform him country that all members of parliament on both sides once again, poret long passing one law, me amend him this law long Proceeds of Crime Act in the last parliament. That law was amended and there was an insertion made for the Undisclosed Wealth Act provisions, Undisclosed Wealth Act undisclosed wealth rather. There's a provision go inside long sinan inside long law long Proceeds of Crime Act long looks away. Whether you member of parliament, or minister of state, or prime minister, or public servant, we all live within the space of our income. Suppose you house blue, you got 10 black car where met him salary blue you, then ICAC, IRC, you got right law, now IRC, you got right law, ask him you, or police get right law, ask him you kiss him all something, law one up. All this law, all members of parliament here passing. Plenty time you may stop outside, Mr. Assistant Speaker, law you may like inform country. No can think also all members of parliament on both sides, sensitive law, issue of corruption. If our leaders at this point in time, sensitive law, issue of corruption, government blow Marape, Rosso, or then government blow Marape, Basil, Nabian Rosso, me blow na him support. Law pass him, this law, or critical law. Long synonym work, long banish him country me, long scourge, or this law sick law corruption. And so leaders for last term, now leaders for this term, we will carry on yet long making this law work, Karem Kaikai. Mr. Assistant Speaker, me like informing you, this house in the country also process for selecting commissioner, na tupla number 2 commissioner, and me complete finish. Beyond him, one block concern belong all leaders, na plenty commentators in our country that you may know can select him. Papua New Guineans law start him this law work long. Run him independent commission against corruption, me like report law you, Mr. Assistant Speaker. The independent process law select him commissioner na tupla number 2 commissioner and me complete. And this law independent process, executive government and law leadership law me no got hand law this law process. You may appoint him Transparency International or supervise him this law process. So that he may starting work law ICAC at a clean slate right from day one. And so Transparency International and law chairmanship long Mr. Peter Atsi supervise the process long appoint him commissioner na tupla assistant commissioner. The only input me recommend him go inside, me talk. With respect to other Papuans that have applied, give them a fair go. But where possible, if online long outside, they come up through the selection process, he rank number 1, pick him online outside, he all know that Tambu, Susa, Kandre, brother, network, lo country, or can come inside and run him this law. Very important office, law fighting corruption, and from day one, they could be on the work, doing the work in as far as responding to corruption fight is concerned. And so, Mr. Assistant Speaker, I may like report that I think 2 Australians and a New Zealand, all very, very experienced former police prosecutors or at the judge level were already appointed. My memory fails to recollect exactly their background, but very, very competent appointees. They came through the due process that Transparency International supervising. And in the final appointment recommendations, we only recommend him. Chief Justice, we sit down, legislative committee will appoint him. Opposition leader is sit down, legislative committee will appoint him. Prime Minister, sit down, legislative committee will appoint him. So there was a mixed, qualified committee to appoint the ICAC commissioners. Seth will handle them, and we've already appointed the commissioner and the two assistant commissioners. A letter of offer was made to them. They have all accepted the offer, and we're in the business of very soon. ICAC will be fully operational. Funding is set aside. We are fully committed to making ICAC get up and make it work. On the issue of Ombudsman Commission, we like also talk clear. We are not, ICAC will not assume him role of Ombudsman Commission. Ombudsman Commission and look long, email line stop underneath long leadership code as well. Mr. Assistant Speaker, we like also talk as Miblai said in ICAC is fully functional. We will also look holistically in the reviewing and clarifying role of Ombudsman Commission so that M can work less clear, especially law Miplo line he can report long Ombudsman in response to our leadership roles. And there's an issue of double jeopardy. Look, so leaders are going through a path without protecting them, going through one path and without bringing them into double jeopardy situation where they're exposed to 2 or 3 different offices that are running prosecution. There's only one clarity of path where leaders are going through the process to respond to any issues pertaining to corruption that may arise in the future. So Ombudsman's role will not be diluted, but clarified, augmented, and remove those areas where sometimes you could have 2 organizations handling the same task, and instead of progressing a matter, they become stalled and they become held back. So Milag inform your country. Thank you, Lord. Member Law asking this very important question. You certain finish ICAC, it's up and running. We've amended the relevant laws to assist ICAC functional. It is now, as soon as the commissioners take office, the organization will be functioning, moving ahead. I hope before September 16 this year, the institution is fully established. And let me encourage our society out there. You know, leaders will stop there, like making corruption and stuff. No can accuse him to solo Facebook. You got evidence? File him before ICAC now set up, you got ombudsman or policies. Put him evidence for you, go along police, na ombudsman, and put him go ICAC. Facebook, I mean a police station. Facebook is not a police station. Facebook in Ombudsman Commission office. Facebook in ICAC. This body of leaders here in the last parliament and this parliament are conscious to the duty to the nation. On both sides have responded. We passed ICAC already. This government stands ready to fund ICAC to get it operational. And it is all our collective responsibility to report on corruption, and the due process will be set up. And if someone is found to have acted improperly and have engaged in corruption, the laws that we are setting up will catch up with him or her and hopefully receive the penalties concerned. So me giving Belly Silo country, ICAC, this generation of leaders is setting. You know, James Marabet also. I'm going to start back to me. They'll give me strong support. You may set him in his ICAC. You may ready to operationalize him this year. 1 block commissioner and 2 block deputy commissioner from outside of PNG have been already appointed through a process that Transparency International had a strong oversight in the process for its independence, and we are ready to support this organization up and running and to prosecute and arrest corruption in our country. Thank you very much.
Honorable Member Abao.
Assistant Speaker, may I seek the Parliament for extension of the question time?
Honorable members, Honorable members, the question is that the question time is extended for 20 minutes. Those members, please stand. Honorable members, the absolute majority, the question time is extended to 20 minutes. Honorable Member for Abao.
Thank you, Assistant Speaker. My question without notice will go to the Honorable Minister for Housing, if he's in the House. And Mr. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Assistant Speaker. This morning, as I was driving to Parliament, I bought one of the dailies, Post Courier. And on page 5 of Post Courier, I saw a family with little children and their luggage outside the home they've been living in for 46 years. And the reason was, and reported in today's Post Courier, was that the new tenants went out to seek a court order, give another citizen who's been living there for 46 years 24-hour notice with police support to evict this family. Nowhere to go, and I believe they are still there. Assistant Speaker, the reason why I am asking this question is because I have personally experienced 2 of my Abao citizens who have gone through the same process. And therefore, I have 3 questions to ask the Honorable Minister for Housing. The first one is, Assistant Speaker, can the Honorable Minister for Housing review the process of eviction of our citizens in such situations? This family was living in this property for 46 years. He claims that he has no outstanding rental arrears and that he received a 24-hour notice from the court, and so he was moved illegally. Another citizen went inside. Honorable Assistant Speaker, I believe that the Housing Minister will have to bring some humanity side of eviction processes in this regard, and I strongly recommend to the Honorable House that this process be never repeated to another citizen in this country. And that I ask the Minister, please, could you review the eviction processes? Wouldn't it have been proper, for example, if the Housing Commission would have informed the tenant, the residing tenant, that we have a new tenant, a new owner of the property, and so we are informing you that the house has changed hands. Wouldn't it have been proper to do that rather than a new tenant goes to court, brings the police, 24-hour notice, and another citizen of this country? And I understand, Assistant Speaker, they're still outside the house waiting to what to do. And this tenant went to court because he doesn't have a title. The court never listened to him. I personally feel, as Speaker, that this is not fair, and so I'm asking the Minister. The second question, Assistant Speaker, is, given my experience of the 2 citizens in Abao who went through the same process, undertake an investigation on whether this new tenant went through a proper legal process. Can the Minister guarantee and make a commitment that an investigation take place? Because my experience is this has been going on for too long. People who have been living there have been unnecessarily move because somebody with money goes and does all that. But one experience is one of my citizens was removed and the housing minister moved into that property. Those are the experience. I'm not saying that this housing minister has done that, but that's an experience, and we need to avoid these things. We cannot use our power to suppress another citizen who has no power at all. So can the minister make an undertaking to investigate whether this new tenant has got the title through a proper legal means? And final question, Mr. Speaker, can the minister intervene to address the issue, give some certainty to that tenant that's been living there for 46 years, go to the court, put a stay order, allow the process to take place, undertake an investigation, get the family to go back to the house, and these are the types of things that give assurance that the government is working, that our people need comfort and they need to trust the government of the day, and we are the government of the day. And so, Minister, please, if you can do that, I'm sure the family who has been set up by a court of law will have some relief for the family, and hopefully a proper process, more human process can be undertaken so that both sides can have a win-win situation. Thank you, Mr. Assistant Speaker.
Minister Housing.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant Speaker. Now, before long, and some question long, Member Blabau. Because it's the time that I thank you, Member Blabau, through the Assistant Speaker. Long first floor leader, the senior Dr. Tu, asking me first question as a minister. Thank you, Roson, Marabe Rosso government, the Pangu government, long backing of minister, on behalf of people from the TVWAN. Let me like time too, lot of thank you, Prime Minister, and look at people from the TVWAN, and especially all LLS Blomi. Now support him, no buy him, no mention people, Prime Minister Marabe, or some become Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, 11th Parliament. Me to thank you, people. Now thank you, blogger members, ministers, first time members, second time, third time, fourth time. Thank you. Anyway, go back to the question. Long, Member Labau, before me go to the question, don't answer him. Yes. How's the one ministry or one department where you may organize Papua New Guinea department of plenty heavy long end. Heavy Mr. Before he come now, me dupla man come, you can sell heavy yet. Legacy issues are there till now. It's not easy to correct those issues. And it's one of those issues that relate come. Now you got this issue now, member me talk out long postcode today. As soon as appointment will come up, appointment blow me, I had a couple of meetings with my administration. Now talking about bringing out all the report or records relating to all status recordable houses throughout the country. When the houses got problems, issues and stuff. Some tenants all stuff, and more stuff, second, third, fourth generation. Some stuff long issue block court yet. Some stuff issue long all man threatening all buy house to all stuff. Now the Islam department in the process, so we can identify fully or then look him. One name of residents now stuff, only got all issue stuff long, so we can identify now, solve him all to easy. But me agree one time, member, and duty place for government. There's a government to strongly look out for people blowing good. To provide them decent home blow, affordable home blow. No, those who start finish inside long all houses, or residential houses, housing companies, how well black and protect them all. No, give them all house, go back long all. The department work no slash stop long. Lately, not only what issue come up today in the paper, so yesterday there was also eviction up at Diwaka. I got a text message. I instructed the police up there to stop that eviction notice. Now, before he talked to me already, money me instructing Phoenix lawyer blame talk. Corner stop this notice now. Stop him, no move him out. Now behind him, by me to go looking more.
Long answer question be review, the process of eviction. Housing, but got process, the how the victim will man. Time when the fire must this the house or this the tenant and stuff, no comply. Or say give them notice after notice, they no comply, they move in. They just don't go straight. So whether that process was breached or not breached, I'll have to find out about it and I'll report back to you, to this house again. Because I believe that I gave the instruction, time he come in my medium speed, no can move him on man, no can everything on man, you must identify more heavy blood past them. Now we have to talk investigation. Investigation is just a or some talk finish. Notice a begin finish. So to black was one plan. Now side long. Help more family. I think me work help him now. I me give talk side go finish all one so me be animal now looking. But Mr. Mixes opportunity to talk as Master Speaker. Just like government from Marabe Rosso, I mean look big plan now look strong. How well I can support him. All workman can level by legally cleaner, go along, storekeeper, supervisor, go along, workman the bank, or workman housing. How best we can provide them affordable, reasonable home, all can start long. Now government am in line now. Me believe them. The government is supporting me. Close to a problem like the Yimilulu. How well you can support him on man Mary blame you start workforce. Now start to install workforce, but you can't afford him house. Because at the end of the day, you may expect him everyone must get house. You can run around anywhere, go come by the end of the day. Or the man say, sleep house. Name it to right blog at the man Mary under the United Nations, human rights, housing, water, and food. So housing, one important something now. Government not losing thing, government still buy. Go ahead, long make sure insure him. Or people will got reasonable house, like stuff. One of the Islam talk, thank you long. Question, good question come. Now if I come back, we'll give full detail, long this la incident come up now. Jiwaka, 1 block, 2 block, will come up. Some block officers will go outside the legal line. Go outside the line. Now me can talk about this house too, or some. January 2, me rousing 5 general managers, like kind one block. Me not come talk outside the place killer. Me rousing more, like kind of us. Only in subordination or direction of ministry. Now we're going to start acting now. All I know, ministry blame must have finish. Behind him law. Housing over the man talking me. Corrupt. Now you tell corrupt. Also housing corrupt. Minister before him, this before. Leader before you blow corrupt in this housing. You blow corrupt in this housing. In this way. So now people are trying to help him, please comply with the people. Or workman inside too. Workman, you know what to comply with that. You know behind him law. Workman no sabe. You know behind him law. You out. You out. Inside long the department, you must have to mix him with workman. 25% New Orleans, 25% Highlands, 25% Mamasa, 25% Southern, mix the regions. No government line region types of stuff. Thank you, Mr. Justice Speaker.
Honorable Member for North Fly.
Thank you, Drew. Sorry. Thank you, Assistant Speaker Lok Sawel or North Fly too. Inomino Semblo, Assistant Speaker Lok Western and Lok Sawel. Thank you. Asking Lobiko SOE Minister a very simple question regarding sample pain mi blau Karim daily. Emlo side blo balus and gini. Now, me just talk sawet also whether every sawet na start or not. There is a 5% fee, and you need sawet charge him. Suppose you swap him card, no buy him airfares. But suppose you pay him, cash. Suppose you pay him cash, and confirm by you pay him 5% on top, no airfares. But suppose you swap him card, and but normal. And what kind of style blow display? Me like Sawe. Not everybody carry safeguard. Think of simple village people. They always carry cash in their hand. So how do we be genuine in our service to general public in that sense? Can there be some undertaking by the minister assuring that this style is not going to come up? Number one.
Number two, me struggle long pay airfares for Mosby Kiunga and 1,800 kinalo one way. It has increased by exactly 40 to 50% for the last 1 year. Normal used to be around 700, 800 plus a bike. And I'm wondering, what is really happening? Me trying to compare Nabla Balus line. For instance, PNG Air is around reasonable 800, 900. And Air Niugini has gone that high. Why? Something as well. Can we do some assessment and please report to the House and tell us what is this increase on the airfares? Not only Kiunga sector, but all across the country. Please, I want that specific undertaking to be resolved because I was Air Niugini and Pride Yumi. Where is there fairness for us, the citizens of this country? And general statement me make him to solve through you, Assistant Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Assistant Speaker. I'd like to thank the member for this important question. The very important questions, firstly, in relation to the cash handling fee, if our society were a law-abiding society and our people respected the rule of law, it would be easy for all of us. Any Guinea is forced to transfer whatever it costs, whatever it takes from our paying passengers, cash payments. It is forced to engage security companies to move that cash. That is a cost of operating in a country like ours, where the chances of any Guinea sales office, just like any other business, of being robbed are very high. So unfortunately, these are costs that all of us have to pay. That reflects the society we live in now. So there is an extra cost that any Guinea has to charge in collecting cash from our traveling public. So people are now being encouraged not to pay cash, but to try and use cards. It also means things like getting our NID and everything else sorted out in this country. So unfortunately, we have to bear the cost of doing business in this country. It is happening everywhere, and Guinea is not the only one. Even the banks, all the others are charging cash handling fees. In relation to the increased fares that are being charged by Guinea, yes, I agree there's a problem there. And I must admit before Parliament that those increases were never approved by the board of Guinea, never came to myself as the minister. And that is one of the reasons why the people who are behind this had to be terminated. It is not for me to tell this Parliament or the public all the reasons why people have to go. They also have rights to defend themselves. So this is the least I can tell you. This is one of the reasons why Cabinet had to make a decision to let go of the CEO. And we are looking at that aspect. Our intention, or Guinea's intention, is to provide fares that are affordable for our people. It is not a company that is led by people who are blind. So I must tell this Parliament that that was one of the reasons why changes had to be made to the senior executive of Guinea. There were two gentlemen who had to be asked to go, or had to be asked to leave. So Guinea board is now being asked to review the level of rates that are being imposed on our traveling public, and we expect to be able to introduce a rate that is affordable for our people. Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker.
Member for Kainantu.
Mr. Acting Speaker.
Question, blow me without notice by me asking long. Minister blow works na highway. Actually, this is a lead up from an earlier question that I posed to the minister early this year. The question I asked was about the delay in completion of the highway rehabilitation at the Highlands Highway, the ADB funded project, and the quality of workmanship that was carried out.
In the course of his answers, he informed the House that the ADB, the financer, selects the contractor and they also do the project manage. That leads me to conclude that our works department is a spectator or a bystander in the whole process. Now, my question is leading from there. The concerns are that the roads are the property of sovereign nation of Papua New Guinea. And the state, through the Department of Works, performs oversight functions of project managing and making sure there is quality and standard in the way the contractors carry out the work. My concern is, and the concern in this House, given the fact that the government is spending a large chunk of the national budget on roadworks, is that whether work that that is being carried out by contractors is worth the money that we are spending. I have a personal knowledge of the fact that the sealing of the Highlands Highway was carried out by a company called Dillingham Corporation. It started in the late 70s. It was completed, it was the end of the early 80s. For the next 40 years, the workmanship that was put there stood test of times. And now we are getting in new contractors to now do the rehabilitation. But seeing the way the work has been carried out, every week they seal part of the road. They have to take them out again and seal them. That is the kind of workmanship that we are getting under the current arrangements. So my questions are firstly, whether the conditions of the loan arrangement, whether it is by design, that is a condition of the ADB loan facility, that we should leave the selection of contractors as well as the project supervision and management of those contracts to ADB, or is it a default on our part? That is whether we have been ignorant of the important fact of project management, ensuring quality of the work that is done. So we have ended up in this kind of situation where works managers, works engineers are pushed to the side and are bystanders now in the whole arrangement. So that is the first question, whether it is a condition of the loan, it is by design, or whether it is by default, by our own ignorance and the project or the loan negotiating team. If it is by design, if it is a condition of the loan, can the state negotiating team in future on projects such as this negotiate properly so that the state, who is the owner of this project, that is for the benefit of our people, properly supervise, manage, and oversee that there is quality in the way work is delivered, so that it lasts like what Dillingham Corporation did way back, which lasted for the next 30 to 40 years without maintenance. That is my first question. The second question is, considering that it is costing this nation, our country, the people and the nation, more than 3 billion kina, the people having to live, to dig deeper into the pockets to repay this loan. Can your department carry out an audit of the whole highway rehabilitation project as soon as it is completed, so that this nation and the people are informed that we have got value for money for the kind of work and the contractors have put the work there, or they have completed the work, so that we have a guarantee that it's going to last the next 30 or 40 years, even if we do not come up with enough money to continue to maintain it. I do not want to see a road rehabilitation project as soon as a contractor picks up and leaves, that a road falls into shambles, and this government and the people go scrambling around for further money to repair the road again. And number 3 question. The Wayne station that is constructed down there at 10 Mile in Ley, when is it ever going to come into use? And does the Works Department have any plans to put up Wayne stations at all of the highways in the provinces that will determine whether the allowable weight is being carried by the vehicles, so that there is no further damage to roads, considering that we always have to scrape around, this government have to always scrape around to find money to fund road repairs and build new roads. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Assistant Speaker. Lo good block ask him lo member block Kainantu. I think me second time ask him. Me snap now like to thank you lo good block ask him. Now also me he run almost 3 or 4 block weeks ago finish me go Highlands Highway. Now me he run long Mendy lo Southern Highlands. Now finish lo Lay lo Morobe. Now me looking first and in road conditions along Highlands Highway, where all ADB he give him loan. Now big plan, massive, now big plan work. He come up start long Bugandi, Poland, start lo finish, Poland by finish lo Najab. Now Najab road 10 over by finish long Kakamuka, long Hagen. He got 3 plan contracts. He run lo this plan half road. One plan na first contractor who said, "Emi look out him start lo section long Najab 1001 na finish lo Ingenofi na long section where member long Kanantu you give him this plan ask him me like talk lyric lo this plan lo make him 3 plan ask him lo you me like asurim you member block Kanantu one time more people lo Eastern Highlands now also 6 or 5 lo provinces lo western side lo Highlands awesome after 2 years road conditions lo Highlands Highway and by come to as standard, roadworthy. Traveling hours per reduce. Now by you got good road. ADB, he got all loan conditions belong all. Lock kiss him, about him contract na all this blah, all he got all conditions belong all, lo him. Now only about him contracts, he got long all contractor. Time only about him contractors, law contractors. National works to replace him all managers, works managers. Law work one them, all that display all contracts he run. So underneath law connect PNG law, maybe got set up na head office of Goroka, where maybe got structure long all that all contracts, he got all managers. He work one time all ADB contractors na report come back to government. Na tell him all conditions long road, make sure he must meet him standard lo government. Standard lo government, law safety, na all the requirement long standard lo country. So law first ask him to you, long loan conditions, law contractors, time ADB give him contract, and we play got all managers, all works managers, all engineers lo maybe stable ground work boom one them. All engineers lo all na contractor lo build him all this roads. Now currently take place lo Papua New Guinea. So mele talk sawe long house na people lo Papua New Guinea awesome. Yes, works, you know compromise. You know make up something, works he put him on managers. That's why by looking road conditions and will take shape. And by not upload rush. And by taking time lyric, now by using good black condition road. That's why walk and me will easy. Long Najab road 1001 na finish lo Ingenofi bridge. I'm 207 kilometer. So I'm a big plus kilometer. Only cut him only at los 3 plus section. Now you drive lo Najab na finish lo water ice. By you look him road you go lo Mereng. By look him this road. I mean no before. Now you pass him in you put him gear low flow. You accelerate na you run. On top lo display, start lo water ice. Na come cross too long. And antu big plan massive work will start lo Kasampas. Time Kasampas he finish come over the law. And antu have this road and finish. Have a nice road. Now third phase long Hanantu na finish Langanofi bridge. Migo finish mi toktolo contractor long start lo kisimo machine kisimo workman so that start lo ingenofi na igo backend because workman kama baria. After October, milega sorim member of Kanantu na people of the Eastern Islands. So say after October, November, igo sembo only deliver him this road. All by deliver him this road. Now this block section and by finish. So now you can relax, now drive. Second, ask him you long yes audit and me pla he work lot this plan now. Let's straight him over the road connect PNG over the road me pla put him by online blow me pla must go down and audit him. This pla road time contractor he finish him. Value for money. If this pla government is serious about making so letting money and put him must work him up lot this pla mark money. So audit team are actually put in place now. They will be start visiting all the roads and all the money. All donor put him, connect PNC put him because people will account of fund along all this all connect PNC roads. So audit is in place. Weighing stations and plan law works now. People put in weighing stations because times the government put in the weighing station. Time blocks is la fee. Ems la fee tas open black sim na maintaining more road yeah. Maintaining more bridge, yeah. So these weighing stations are also in progress now to review so that we will start implementing weighing stations to collect fish and start putting them down for maintaining all the roads. While waiting for government to give us money, we have also money coming in. So we use this money to do emergency work. All Sambla Bridge, Sambla Road, landslip, nah. Disaster can happen anytime. We are there because this money is there. So these are plans already in plan. So we are working on it. Let me also the member, these people in Eastern Islands and the people of Papua New Guinea. Connect PNC is real, is big time, and will deliver all these projects. So me like Apilna, talking you of them. Road leaders having by finish. One black them by you talk. But you don't ask me a question. One time on leaders, now all members come to Highlands region. Now even look Papua New Guinea to want them. Thank you too.
Honorable members, the question time has lapsed. Papers. Honorable members, pursuant to statute, I present Part 6 report of the Auditor General relating to the accounts of public authorities and statutory bodies and government-owned companies for the year 2021. Chairman of Public Accounts.
Mr. Assistant Speaker, I move that Parliament take note of the paper and move that the report be referred to the Permanent Parliamentary Committee on Public Accounts.
Honorable members, those in favor say aye. Aye. The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Minister for Transport and Civil Aviation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pursuant to statute, I present the annual reports of the Civil Aviation Safety Authority for the year 2020 and 2021. Mr. Speaker, I ask leave of the Parliament to make a statement in connection with the report.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to present the ministerial statement on behalf of my ministry as mandated under law to be presented on the floor of Parliament. This particular statement is in relation to the 2020 and 2021 Civil Aviation Safety Authority annual reports. Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to present in this Honourable House my statement on the performance of the Civil Aviation Safety Authority of Papua New Guinea in 2021 and 2020. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to present to Parliament the 2021 CASA Annual Report, which is the 12th annual report of the authority since its establishment in 2010, and the report includes a statement of the activities of the authority during the year and the annual financial statements of the authority prepared under the Civil Aviation Act 2000 as amended. Mr. Speaker, CASA PNG was unable to present its 2020 annual report to Parliament in 2021. Therefore, I am presenting it to Parliament along with the 2021 CASA annual report. The 2020 annual report is the 11th report of CASA since its establishment. Mr. Speaker, the operation of the Civil Aviation Safety Authority of Papua New Guinea has again met the expectation of the government, the aviation industry, and the public in ensuring that safety and security is maintained and enhanced within an increasingly complex and challenging environment. Mr. Speaker, CASA PNG did not have a board in 2021 due to circumstances beyond the control of its management. The appointment and swearing in of the new board of directors were recently completed. In 2020, a 6-member board provided governance oversight over CASA PNG. The then board of directors' involvement in CASA PNG in 2020 shaped and influenced the strategic direction for CASA PNG as set out in the corporate plan 2020 to 2022. Mr. Speaker, it is important that we have an effective and efficient aviation safety and security regulator, because a safe aviation environment contributes towards social and economic development of Papua New Guinea and raises PNG's profile at the international level. Mr. Speaker, building organization capability to meet the expectation of the aviation industry and the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, continue to be CASA PNG's challenge, and I commend the CASA staff for continue to perform exceptionally well. The various programs, objectives, and targets being pursued under the ICAO No Country Left Behind initiative to assist states in capacity building also assisted CASA PNG in 2021 and 2020. Mr. Speaker, ICAO Global Aviation Safety Plan and the Global Air Navigation Plan set out regional expectations, priorities, and targets for states to meet the Universal Safety Oversight Audit Program, effective implementation, range of scores, in which the smaller island states of the Pacific saw a compelling need for improvement and CASA PNG actively engaged in forging stronger regional cooperation, partnerships, and engagement in this area. Mr. Speaker, the direction and objective for aviation safety and security in PNG follows the regional expectation and supports CASA's vision to be respected as an industry regulator and as a partner in regional and international civil aviation, and its mission to promote compliance and effective safety and security outcomes in PNG through positive and productive engagement with its stakeholders. Mr. Speaker, CASA is a growing organization facing a number of challenges in the aviation environment, which is evolutionary. Its strategic direction sets a clear pathway in addressing the challenges and to facilitate change in a gradual stage approach, allowing CASA to absorb and benefit from these changes, assessing the risks before making the decision to proceed with others. Mr. Speaker, aviation safety regulation is a global operation across borders, not isolated to one country. The aviation challenges faced by PNG differ to those in other countries, and it is particularly beneficial for PNG to maintain its presence at the ICAO forums to collaborate with other states on common aviation-related issues. Mr. Speaker, recent estimates suggest that demand for air transport will increase by an average of 4.3% per annum over the next 20 years. This growth is likely to pose many challenges for PNG. Mr. Speaker, the rapid growth of the remotely piloted aircraft system and drones industry has resulted in significant and multiplied challenges for PNG. To deliver our mandate and meet the needs and expectation of the industry, CASA has identified key areas of concern and has reviewed and developed its operating rules that are being implemented. CASA is continuing with its efforts to address the remotely piloted aircraft system, oversight and surveillance, including capacity building of its inspectors, and is improving PNG's RPS regulations to ensure alignment with ICAO standards and recommendations I adhere to. Mr. Speaker, today, cyber threats are of growing concern to civil aviation, and CASA PNG is required to focus its effort for a proactive and aligned collective response. Mr. Speaker, from CASA perspective, new technologies and changes in the aviation environment have a significant impact on resources required to support technical training for inspectors, development of new CASA policies and procedures, stakeholders consultation and communications, and legislation development and implementation. Mr. Speaker, when safety and security incidents and serious incidents are reported, the most serious incidents and aircraft accidents are investigated by the PNG Accident Investigation Commission. to determine the root cause factor that have contributed to the incident, with the aim of preventing future occurrence. Mr. Speaker, CASA PNG also uses these reports to conduct trend analysis to build a picture of how prevalent certain types of incidents are in different types of aviation operations. This helps CASA to design policies, propose new safety standards, and oversight strategies to improve aviation safety and security. Mr. Speaker, from a safety perspective, significant changes increase the risk, and CASA was able to mitigate this risk through regulatory interventions. Increased surveillance and imposition of conditions and implementation of a risk-based approach in auditing. Mr. Speaker, CASA's corporate plan key objectives sets the strategic direction and either relies on or would benefit from regional and international engagement with neighboring aviation regulators to collaborate and adopt best practice that would assist PNG in addressing the challenges and risks. Mr. Speaker, CASA PNG long-term objective is the implementation of a robust civil aviation safety and security system that will become integral to the civil aviation system of the future. CASA continues to assess the growth in the civil aviation sector domestically and globally to identify emerging challenges and risks. The strategies on addressing the challenges and mitigating the emerging risks are set in this corporate plan to ensure that it achieves its long-term objective. Mr. Speaker, for benchmarking purposes and as an ongoing performance indicator for investment, in 2021, PNG had an ICAO effective implementation score of 60.73% for safety oversight, against a global average of 67.5%. The scores are based on an assessment of our responses to the 8 critical elements of aviation safety that addresses the standards that set out in the annexes to the Chicago Convention on International Civil Aviation. Mr. Speaker, Papua New Guinea maintained its Aviation Safety International Civil Aviation Organization effective implementation target, above the Global Aviation Safety Plan and the Asia-Pacific regional target of 60.1%, and work is continuing on the deficient areas to improve further as PNG focus on the Beijing Declaration, a commitment made by the Asia-Pacific Civil Aviation Ministers in Beijing to progressively enhance safety oversight capabilities to achieve a universal safety oversight audit program, EI score, higher or equal to the global average by 2022. Mr. Speaker, CASA PNG continues to focus efforts towards improving the ICAO EI scores for both aviation safety and security. This includes achievements of full implementation of the State Safety Program and Safety Management System to facilitate the proactive management of safety risks. Mr. Speaker, significant safety concerns indicates that a state is not providing sufficient safety oversight to ensure the effective implementation of applicable ICAO standards. SSEC may be issued in the area of all operations, air navigation safety, aerodomes, airworthiness, or licensing. I am pleased to report that PNG has no significant safety concern. Mr. Speaker, in the area of certification of international aerodomes, ICAO has considered that PNG has satisfactorily promulgated regulations detailing the requirements for the certification of aerodomes, including establishing a process for the certification of aerodomes. Mr. Speaker, PNG has been assessed by the Federal Aviation Administration through the International Aviation Safety Audit Program. This is a long-term strategy that CASA will now be embarking on with the airlines. Mr. Speaker, PNG has no operational restrictions with regard to European air safety, and PNG has only one airline in New Guinea certified through the International Air Transport Association Operational Safety Audit Program. Mr. Speaker, in the areas of the state safety implementation, PNG is at level 3 at 95.2%, above the target and moving towards level 4. Our overall SSP foundation is currently at 91.19%. The full implementation of SSP is now part of CASA's strategy, following the attainment of over 60% effective implementation score. Mr. Speaker, the implementation of the performance-based navigation is presently the global aviation community's highest air navigation priority. The PBN concept offers significant benefits, including improved safety through more straight-in instrument approaches with vertical guidance, increased airspace capacity, increased airport accessibility, more efficient operations, reduce infrastructure costs, and reduce environmental impact. PNG's international airports have 2 instrument runways which have 2 PBN approaches that result in our PBN implementation ICAO rating at 100%. Mr. Speaker, CASA continued in 2021 with its data-driven, risk-based approach to proactively monitor emerging safety trends within each certified organization in PNG. The monitoring of trends enable CASA to allocate its limited human resources to focus on high-risk areas and measure the effectiveness of its safety certification, audit, and surveillance program. Mr. Speaker, the result of CASA's trend analysis of aviation safety and security data enables CASA to engage with the industry by communicating issues of concern directly to each air operator and/or take the appropriate enforcement actions to prevent incidents or accidents from happening. Mr. Speaker, through trend analysis and risk-based approach auditing, CASA was able to monitor any buildup of latent unsafe conditions within each organization in a timely manner. Mr. Speaker, statistics for the last 7 years indicated a slight fluctuation in the number of serious incidents and bird strikes. However, the trend analysis shows a steady trend during that period. Mr. Speaker, the number of serious incidents reported to CASA by the industry decreased from 108 in 2020 to 98 in 2021. Mr. Speaker, significant achievements have also been achieved by the authority, demonstrated by the completion of the audit of the financial statements of CASA for year ended 31st December 2021 and the year ended 31st December 2020. And the results of the audits from the Auditor General forwarded to my office, advising me of the results of his inspection. Mr. Speaker, CASA regulates aviation participants within PNG with a very modern set of legislative framework that meets international best practice in aviation safety. The International Civil Aviation Organization has rated Papua New Guinea as having one of the best piece of primary aviation safety legislation, the Act. The Act that's in place currently. Mr. Speaker, reviews of subordinate aviation safety rules set that are linked to support the primary legislation were also conducted and completed in 2021 and 2020 respectively, following consultation with the aviation industry and stakeholders. Mr. Speaker, PNG is a strong advocate for the Pacific region on aviation safety and security matters. We continue to play a significant leading role among the smaller island Pacific states through the Regional Pacific Aviation Safety Office, PASO, a regional body established by the Pacific Islands Forum leaders to ensure aviation safety and security oversight is effective in order to meet the international obligations required of us under the ICAO Convention on International Civil Aviation. Mr. Speaker, PNG as a member of PASO, it is particularly beneficial for PNG to maintain its presence at PASO's meeting, to collaborate with other smaller island states of the Pacific on common aviation-related issues and challenges. Mr. Speaker, PNG's leadership supports our platform to be a partner in regional and international civil aviation and further demonstrates our credibility in this very highly technical and specialized field. Commiserate with the extensive aviation infrastructure we have in PNG. Mr. Speaker, CASA has safety-related functions amid at encouraging the aviation industry to maintain and enhance high standards of safety through compliance with the appropriate rules and the development and evaluation of a safety culture. CASA undertakes these functions through accurate and timely aviation safety advice, comprehensive safety education and training programs, and fostering awareness within industry and the community on fundamental importance of aviation safety. Mr. Speaker, as CASA's stakeholders and clients are individuals or groups who are affected by CASA's activity, CASA has a large and diverse number of stakeholders, clients, and safety partners. Its approach to stakeholder engagement sits within a key objective of its corporate plan and is guided by the vision, mission, and values. Mr. Speaker, as part of the CASA's strategies to engage with stakeholders, it successfully hosted the 2021 annual high-level aviation safety and security conference virtually, with action items tracked. The theme of the conference, adapting and digital sustaining PNG aviation amidst the pandemic, enabled the participants to discuss fundamentals that were a pillar for adaptation and sustainability in the aviation sector during any given pandemic. It was important that the policymakers, regulators, and the aviation industry collaborate together to ensure appropriate policies and legislative framework is established for the industry in PNG. A total of 125 participants took part in the conference, with a good representation from international organizations, including PNG Department of PM and NEC, Department of Transport, Department of Defense, and Civil Aviation Minister's Office. Mr. Speaker, in the area of aviation security oversight, CASA has increased the allocation of resources to its aviation security branch to ensure efforts is put into addressing the protocol questions and the three significant security concerns it applies in the areas of airport operations, passengers, baggage, security, and cargo, which were identified by the Combined Assistance Technical Mission in 2019. Monthly progress reports are being sent to ICAO, providing updates on the implementation of PNG's corrective action plan. Mr. Speaker, the 2021 recurrent budget appropriation of 15.2 million was a decrease of 3.5% from 2020 appropriation of 15.8 million. CASA PNG continued to face inconsistencies of the grant disbursement in 2021 and 2020. Mr. Speaker, CASA implemented measures to counteract this reduction, as well as the inconsistency of the grant disbursement, to ensure that funding did not erode further to a point where it would seriously impact aviation safety and security oversight responsibilities, and has vigorously pursued its outstanding debts. Mr. Speaker, in terms of staff liabilities, there were no outstanding staff liabilities, apart from the payments made to staff existing or exiting the organization through resignation, medical condition, or contract expiration in 2021 and 2020. Provisions are maintained for accurate gratuities, annual leave, and long service leave. Mr. Speaker, CASA PNG organization structure and approved positions remained at 104 positions. This has remained for the last 3 years, and while CASA is continually seeking from the government for more positions, it has been very difficult to obtain approval. Mr. Speaker, CASA PNG's management is committed to ensuring that the organization is appropriately staffed with qualified and experienced personnel, capable of successfully undertaking the wide variety of required regulatory tasks, but they are being hampered by the limited number of positions, which are not allowing the organization to grow together with the growth in the industry. Mr. Speaker, it is important that the functions of CASA are recognized and supported to ensure there is growth commensurated with industry growth, and that it can attract and retain qualified, experienced, and skilled staff to ensure that the organization is credible and respected when it interacts with the industry. Mr. Speaker, the increase in organization position to permit increase in staff numbers is therefore critical in light of a significant increase in the volume and scope of aviation activities, including the improvements in technology in PNG. Conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the functions of CASA PNG and its strategic direction are consistent with the government's development agenda and is aligned with the support and achievement of the government's goals for aviation safety and security. It includes consistency with PNG's vision of 2050 and the transport sector goal for a well-integrated, competitive, safe, affordable, financially and environmentally sustainable transport system that efficiently serves the economy and the society of Papua New Guinea. Mr. Speaker, finally, for this government, the safety and security of the traveling public is the most important priority. The public expects us, the government, to be responsible in ensuring that aeroplanes are safe to fly, the airports are safe to operate into, and the associated aeronautical infrastructures and modernization meets international standards. Mr. Speaker, I commend the 2021 and 2020 annual reports provided by the Civil Aviation Safety Authority of Papua New Guinea and ask the government to lend its support to this very important safety agency. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Governor for Morobe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, or Assistant Speaker. Me talk thank you long giving me talk right long making some talk and up long Minister of Civil Aviation long this country long report long end on Civil Aviation Safety Authority long country of Papua New Guinea. Mr. Assistant Speaker. Sorry about that. Mr. Assistant Speaker, move that the Parliament take note of this paper, and I proceed to make some statement in relation to the Minister's statement.
Honorable Governor, you can go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to make a comment or contribute to the debate on the Minister for Civil Aviation who provides to this Parliament the report of Civil Aviation Safety Authority in this country, and as it extends to the world, because Papua New Guinea is not alone. Papua New Guinea is a member of the international community. So to the extent that it extends to the world in relation to this operation. Mr. Minister and Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank the Minister providing this succinctly the situation in relation to the Civil Aviation Safety Authority. And secondly, comprehensive providing the report that this Parliament should know and this Parliament should disseminate in relation to that matter to the country, Papua New Guinea. And as I said, Mr. Speaker, we are not just alone. Papua New Guinea is not alone. Papua New Guinea is a member of the international community. So that the manner in which we operate, particularly in relation to the safety of aerodrome, safety of people working at the aerodrome, safety of the people who are piloting the plane to PNG and to the international community, their safety, and the people who are being taken by those planes to PNG and to international community, and that in relation to the creeping of criminal act, which we call a cybercrime, coming into this country and coming into the operation or the mechanical operation of the aircraft and the mechanical operation of all the apparatus, those are relevant in relation to the operation of machines that we have and how it affects them. And also, Minister, I thank you that you provide us this Parliament in relation to the government's commitment to provide money, to provide training for those specialist people who are working in the areas that I have submitted, to make sure that they are competent, they are experienced, they are competent, to make sure that operations they are required to perform are provided in the best possible way, so that safety is guaranteed to the users of the aircraft and anything that is relevant. And Mr. Speaker, also, I'm happy to hear that the Auditor General, the constitutional established office to audit books of government operation in this country and relevant to the Civil Aviation Safety Authority, Mr. Speaker, Assistant Speaker, they have done the audits to make sure that there is compliance by the CASA. And I'm happy to know, Mr. Speaker, that the CASA has complied with the utility of money that is provided, and also any other apparatus that is relevant for the operation of the aircraft and taking of people, all of those has been audited, Mr. Speaker. And I'm happy to know from the Minister that all are there is no misuse of money in the operation. And Mr. Minister, Mr. Speaker, that is the news that this country needs to know. Mr. Speaker, there's no question. Our record is good, and I fully concur with the Minister's presentation that we are in order. We are in order as to all of those machineries and apparatus, aerodrome, and the pilots and all those people who are trained to make sure that operation of all those things are in order. I'm happy to know, Mr. Speaker, that there's no much problem in this country. There's no much problem. Not plenty accident been come up, Mr. Speaker, in relation to the Air New Guinea. There's probably only one in Medang. Was about to land, but this is a small technical fault there. But nobody died, Mr. Speaker. The plane, of course, damaged, but the people in there were safe. All of them were safe. Mr. Speaker, furthermore, in one Micronesian country, one of our aircraft it sank into the waters of that region. But none of the passengers have died. All of them were safe, including the pilot and everybody, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Minister, you're reporting on the competency of the people who are working there and the compliance, Mr. Speaker, compliance of the rules by those people who are working there is excellent, They're trying to make sure that the aircraft is running well, wherever destination it's going, Mr. Speaker, and the passengers in there are well treated. Papua New Guinea passengers or international passengers, they're well treated and lands in the international ports without any difficulty. That is a very good news. Very good news. I'm able to know that none of our pilots have made any slightest mistake in the international ports. Mr. Speaker, none of our pilots are well trained. Pilots are able to manage the aircraft, and the pilots are able to know the topography of which country they're traveling and the wind that is coming and bumping against the aircraft and whatever that is doing. Pilots have managed it. Our pilots have managed it. We have a good record. There's no question about it. We have a good record. And I think the international community will respect us, Mr. Minister. There's no question about that. We hear about the Malaysian plane that's crashed, probably interfered by cyber people who are producing cyber crime. They crashed, and none of them survived. We are in Turkey, we are in Russia, even well-advanced countries, but they have a record, Mr. Speaker, of their plane crashed. In Indonesia, plenty of planes have crashed, but in Papua New Guinea, only 2 incidents that I can remember. One in our country, and one in the Micronesian Sea. And Mr. Speaker, with this record, and in the light, Mr. Speaker, Assistant Speaker, in the light of NASAP, which is going to become the international airport, and I think that Honorable James Marabe and the previous government of Honorable Peter O'Neill, which authorized the grant from the Japanese government to come in and help us to make sure that we upgrade that airport to an international standard, international level, to take in the international flights in and out of this country and international country, the community in the world. And Mr. Speaker, with this confidence, Mr. Prime Minister, when we sanction the Nazaf International Airport, we should fly direct to some countries that will help us to build the economy of our country and make our country powerful as their country. So, Mr. Speaker, we need direct flights to Philippines. We need direct flights from here to China. We will need direct flight to Japan and to Australia and the rest of the South Pacific country. And Mr. Prime Minister, through the Speaker, I'm sure when the Lae International or Nazaf International Airport is inaugurated, I'm sure you will endorse those flights. Surely I will be requesting, I'm still alive, I will be requesting those international flights into those areas. Because we got a record. There's no question about that, Mr. Speaker. We got a record. And we got a record, the nation knows, and we got a record, the international community knows. And therefore, on that basis, we should fly. We don't have to come all the way to Port Moresby. It's too far away, Mr. Speaker, with all due respect. We don't have to come all the way to Port Moresby. The Highlanders would not have to come all the way to Port Moresby. They're linked by road to Narchap. So just come in here by PMB or whatever vehicle, come in there, get checked in, and fly direct to Beijing or to Shanghai from Kagamuga, but from Yaramanda up there. You come right in the morning, you catch the plane, or Kandip, direct flight there, direct by land transport, Mr. Speaker, and then get to Najab, and direct from there to Najab to Tokyo in Japan. Wonderful flight, isn't it? And then when the Tokyo people ask you, where you coming from? You say, I'm coming from Kandip, straight from Kandip. So So the CIFIC's people, the people of the CIFIC, Mr. Speaker, and the people of the Papuan region too, people of the Bougainville and the Islands region, you don't have to comply all the way to Port Moresby. It's too far away. Just come into Lae by whatever transport and get into international flight from Lae. Because the minister has assured us through his report, Mr. Speaker, through his report, that our plane is safe, people walking on the ground is safe, people operating the aircraft safe, and all of those people are complying with the laws in relation to the civil aviation civil aviation operation, and complying with the international law. International law, they're complying with them. So we have a respect and trust from our country and from our citizens, Mr. Speaker, and we have a trust from the international community that our plane is safe. Those fellows who are going to be there to make sure that they help us in the flight, they will make sure that we fly safely. And it's not just that I'm saying we're going to begin. We have a track record since independence, Mr. Speaker. We have a track record. When we announced New Guinea, not much damage, not much crash that happened. No, I can't think of any except those only two. Only two. And why not? Come in and fly from Najab. Fly from Najab to the destination you wish to travel. But thank you, Mr. Minister. I'm well assured and the country is well assured. Our safety flying out and flying in to our land for our citizens and for our international community friends are safe. And why not? Let's make sure that we don't have any accidents like what we have accidents on the road, on the sea transport. We have to keep a high record, high standard on the safety, on the issue of safety. And this country will be respected by members of the international community. And they want to do business with us, and coming through the air transport will feel confident, feel safe, and they'll come in. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to speak. But, Mr. Minister, you have my, I shouldn't say 100%, 1,000 support, and commend you, and commend you are presenting your report, but people actually doing their job, and I commend them.
Deputy Opposition Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant Speaker. Me like also talk also Minister of Civil Aviation. You presenting one report where I'm kissing some Bell Hamamas. Kamlo or people of Papua New Guinea, especially the traveling public. Mr. Speaker, I won't be long. I'll try my best to be very short. So page 5 of the report, I'm giving plenty Bell Hamamas, Kamlo, the traveling public, in that the report has very high ratings. High ratings, you mean looking motion, you mean stop low 3, now you mean oklo move goal of 4. Now this report I'm giving comfort, especially to the traveling public. Now plenty of leaders stop inside law here where plenty time people are expressing some negative thoughts, negative thinking goal all operators, all airlines blame law country. Now I'll get to that later. But let me at this time, at this juncture, say that CASA is doing a great job, and I commend the organization. I commend the organization with its continuous endeavors to make certain that we as an organization involved in the airline industry is performing at the highest level. Me commend him, I would like to commend CASA that with its limited funding continues to perform at the international standard with a high standard set by the industry, airline industry, and CASA continues to perform at that level. And today's report gives me as one of the travelers on these airlines that I have an eye watching the industry, and this eye is CASA. And CASA continues to perform its duties, and for this House to report for the rest of Papua New Guinea to hear. It is very encouraging. It gives the traveling public comfort. It gives the traveling public confidence that one of the safest traveling mode of travel would be the airline industry. Plenty time you may have him all boats sink. Plenty time you may have him car crash. It becomes almost a monthly occurrence or weekly occurrence. That's all. You may have him inside the balus industry, the airline industry, very minimal accidents. And so it gives us now that CASA will performing this mandated responsibility blame as a regulator in the airline industry. And now it comes and gives us the challenge of the performance of Air Niugini, Airlines PNG, and other third level airline or operators. Also, me talk plenty. That's all. Me like commend him, CASA, that with the very limited funding that they have, and we know from the budgets that we have, CASA continues to perform. And today's report gives us that confidence and that endeavor as a house to support this industry, to support this organization. I'd like to also take this opportunity to commend the management of CASA. I'd like to commend the management of CASA. With this report that they have presented today, and we hear about the Prime Minister talking about corruption today, and ICAC being involved, and the police involved. And here we have an organization that does not owe anybody any monies. And this is the type of report we would like to hear from organizations. Now it gives other organizations the challenge to be like CASA as well. How many organizations can come out with positive reports like this? And today's report really gives us a time where we can ponder upon and we can turn around and discuss that one of the government organizations like CASA is performing well. I have nothing to say, no negativity to say here, but one plus something does me like contribute awesome. Now it gives the challenge to Air Niugini. It gives the challenge to Airlines PNG and the third level airline to rise to the occasion and to meet this challenge that CASA has outlined in their report today. Finally, before I sit, let me just once again congratulate CASA for this report that was presented to the House today. Me like also talk thank you some Minister, you stop short time taso. Na previous ministers for a job well done. Law organization blipla. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member Bulolo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, correction, Assistant Speaker. Allow me to first grievance debate me. Also, I'm not member of Bulolo. Mr. Assistant Speaker, me at me commercial holder na mi pilim ino gupla lo mi sindaw na. Are mo tok lo balus, so mi tumasanap. Thank you to lo Minister na CASA. While everyone comments the report, I also commented the report. You know, absent long time later. Let me just sort in talk because I'll just get to the point where Misawe by adding value golo. Minister want them CASA. The reason why misanap me like him CASA lo mas got teeth. Tame operate. All man must operate him CASA. CASA must come up leader. Lo push him safety inside the aviation. You know, group la all service providers. Come up boss lo CASA. In saying that, by me talk lo all aviation documents. Aviation documents, sa mantas all license for pilot. But bago as far as security, firms, inside the airport. By me toktok ken lo fit and proper, peasants. I'm touch him. O kada something. Suppose me toktok lo fit and proper. All operators, all pilots, now security guard too. Tanap lo gate. If they are not under that fit and proper area, and by causing problem. By me looking mo so ulit can fight to lo special security. Or can causing problem lo airport na bagarap in public. So the main point lo mi fit and proper. Na miyam masusem kasa make him good report belong him come where you understand him na imi amamas. At the same time, me like him kasa mas kama leader inside aviation, side security, na safety. You talk civil aviation safety authority, then they must be that leader in enforcing that. Of course, under the guidance of ICAO. Look go back to TED. TED airline operators. I think look me plenty blow stop good. So more good plus suppose kasa conside true. Na mas check him all good. Plenty blow operate lo VFR, visual flight rules. So they must have all the current documents in place. One plus something me notice him, you may know that aeronautical, I'll call him AIP, aeronautical information publications. This is something I must have current. I'm just showing him aerodrome. How ba you gonna operate inside of second? How ba you land? Ba you go park na refill over? This is something I must stop. And Bible blow, pilot. You know, got a pilot or school law, 1+ school. O school kan country na kam. So kasa must come up. One black leader lo standardize him o kata report. Not report, but aviation law under the guidance of ICAO. So o kata man by come, but ban him this standardization instead of operating in their own way. I'm tasol migat lo edim lo debate na mi commend him report lo kasana. Thank you lo at lo workman lo. Line lo workat lo kasana. Bring him safety come inside lo Papua New Guinea na all international flights. Thank you.
The question is that the question be put. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I have it. Leader of government business.
Mr. President Speaker, thank you. Me, like move us and me Jenim Parliament go tomorrow, 10 a.m. please.
Honorable members, the question is that the motion be agreed. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I have it. Honorable members, I adjourn the Parliament until tomorrow at 10 a.m.